So we've talked a bit about websites and HTML, kind of how websites are structured, have the language of the web a little bit. Well, now I want to get into keyword research because you really can't do optimization for a website unless you know what words and phrases people are actually searching for and whether or not you have any potential possibility of getting ranked for them. So keyword research is the process that we use of using various tools that are out there. Now, I typically don't use just one tool. I use multiple tools, kind of just make sure they're all aligning properly, just to see what search data is out there. And then figuring out what words and phrases, your ideal customer is actually looking for, how often they're doing so. And then by creating and describing your existing pages or creating new pages with these research keywords and related words that both the public and the search engines are looking for, you give yourself the best shot at getting found, okay? So just writing great content isn't enough. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk about a lot about content and how important it is to write great content, how to write that great content. But if you don't include the right keywords and the right intent and the right meaning on the page along with the great content you've written, you're not going to get ranked well. And so we have to really understand that it's not just about writing great content. It's about understanding what words people are looking for, putting them in the right places, and then also what other related keywords might also be valuable. I'm going to use an example of a dog trainer a lot throughout the session here. And when you think about dogs or dog training, you might think about like sit, stay, come, okay, no. You might thinking about dogs, you might think about collars or leashes, other things like that, right? These are kind of common. So if you're looking for a website about dog training, you'd probably expect that there be information about it. There we go. All right. So when it comes to keyword research, too often people guess at what are the best words and phrases that they should be targeting when trying to reach their ideal customers. And guessing at the right words is the worst thing that you can do, okay? You definitely need to make sure that people can understand what you're trying to do and know, right? I say you don't want to guess, you want to know. And we can. If you don't specifically know and target the words and phrases that your target audience is actually typing into Google, well, how can you expect your pages to actually show up in Google's results, right? The idea behind keyword research is to find the words and phrases people are actually looking for, actually typing into Google that relate to what you offer, and then doing the thing that you can to best get the best potential to be found in Google. So you're looking for those phrases that are in fair to high demand, but where there's fewer competitors. It's just basically supply and demand, right? So if you have a product that a lot of people also have, you're going up against a lot of supply, right? And if demand is kind of very minor, it's going to be very difficult to break in because you have a lot of other people doing things. I use the term digital cameras a lot. Who are you competing if you're trying to open up a digital camera store and you want to rank in Google? Guess what? You're not competing with Minolta and Canon and Olympus. You're actually competing with Walmart and Amazon and Best Buy and all those kind of places. So if you're going to open up a digital camera store, be aware that you're probably never going to get ranked for a term like digital camera. And what we're looking for in the research is to find words that are in fairly good usage and fairly high demand, but where you don't have as many people actually going after that term or that phrase, because that gives you a better shot. That lets you be a bit more unique. That's that, hey, I've got a supply, but there's a demand for it, but not as high of a supply, but you've got a supply. That goes back to basic economics here. And so the goal is to find those words that are in fair to high demand, but where there's fewer competitors. And remember, the phrase that's most often searched for, generally not the best one to target at first, because there's going to be millions of people going after it as well. So you got to figure out which phrases are the most valuable, not most often searched, but most valuable, and which ones you can be most successful with when it comes to achieving your own online goals. And this is basically just looking for the low-hanging fruit, as they say. So once you've found some potential keyword phrases, we'll talk about do that in just a minute. Then you also have to figure out how hard or easy it's going to be to get ranked on the first page of Google for that phrase, okay? You don't want to take on phrases you've got no chance of succeeding with, like digital camera. You just don't care. Let's face it, if you work for Minolta and I type in digital cameras, got to type it in right, of course. Let me try and get it. There we go, digital cameras. And, look who shows up number one. Best Buy shows up number one, right? I get people also ask. Here's Amazon's got a few, PC Magazine. Here's B&H Photo that's been around for eons. So here's a little section in Google called Explore Brands, right? This is Google sort of just adding a little bit more insight. Maybe you want to understand more about brands. Here's some of the shopping area that comes up. There's Target. It's organic here. Target. Here's YouTube, more Best Buy. It's like ratings, rtings.com, more information about. But notice we didn't really see outside of the specialty area by Google. You don't see Olympus, you don't see Canon, you don't see those. So if you're trying to get ranked for digital cameras because you're opening up a new digital camera store, it's unlikely that you're going to have any potential to do that. So we want to make sure that we are looking for more focused, more niche or specific phrases first. And let's face it, buyers that are using those phrases tend to be further along in the sales cycle and closer to making a decision. So if I type in digital camera or, best digital camera, well, I don't really know, that user doesn't really know what they want yet, right? They know they want a digital camera, but there's so many different kinds and so many different price levels. Which one do they want is going to be the difference maker here. In addition, you got to review the competition that you're going up against, right? So if I do want to get found for digital camera and I type that into Google and I see, Amazon and Target and Best Buy and Walmart showing up. Well, listen, I don't have the kind of marketing budget those guys do. It's unlikely I'm ever going to get ranked for that word or phrase because of who I'm going up against. And so you know what? Even though it might be a really valuable word searched for many, many, many times a day, I'm probably never going to get ranked for that because of who I'm going up against. So I want to find what other words that are out there and know what I can go about targeting that I may be able to target myself. And this is where the tools come in handy, okay? This is where we really can get some better understanding.